We all receive nuisance telephone calls at home. We get sales calls, recorded message calls and silent calls. They can waste our time and make us feel uncomfortable in our own homes. Some people also receive offensive or threatening phone calls. These can be very upsetting. Truecall lets you stop all these nuisance calls without even having to answer the phone. Truecall simply plugs into your telephone line at home and checks every call before your phone rings. It remembers your friends and family, so their calls are put through immediately, and has a polite way of dealing with callers it doesn't recognise, asking them to identify themselves, so you can decide whether you want to speak to them. Keep watching to see how Truecall deals with a double-glazing salesman and a malicious caller, as well as letting your friends get through immediately. You've had a busy day. You've just sat down to watch the TV and the phone rings. It may be important, so you get up to answer it.
Hello?
Hi, is that Mr. Smith?
Yeah?
Oh, hello, Mr. Smith. I'm calling on behalf of Great Deal Home Improvements, and we got some great deals on double glazing. Now,
they're trying to sell you something, and they keep on going even when you say you're not interested.
Can we say next Tuesday?
Truecall deals with these annoying calls for you. So, how does Truecall work? When a call arrives, Truecall first checks the caller's number. If it recognises them as a friend or a member of your family, your phone will ring as usual. If it recognises them as a telemarketer, it answers the call itself, politely telling them that you're not interested, and getting rid of them without your phone ever ringing. If Truecall doesn't recognise the caller's number, it asks them who they are.
Hello, you're through to the Smith household.
Please say your name after the tone.
Most telemarketers hang up at this stage. They know that if you screen your calls, you're unlikely to buy from them. And since they're paid commission on their sales, it makes sense for them to move on. But sometimes they're persistent.
It's Barry from Great Deal Home Improvements.
Thank you. Please wait a moment.
Truecall puts the caller on hold and only now rings your phone. When you pick up, Truecall lets you know who's calling.
Hello, you have a call from...
It's Barry from Great Deal Home Improvements.
Press 1 to accept the call, # to zap the caller, or hang up to ask the caller to leave a message.
Not more double glazing. You press the # key on your phone to zap the caller. Truecall speaks to Barry for you, and you can get back to the sofa.
I'm afraid that we're not interested in your call. Please hang up and don't call us again.
Barry is politely handled, and because you zapped him, Truecall will recognise him if he calls again and deal with him without ringing your phone. Truecall stops all sorts of nuisance sales call. Telemarketers, recorded messages, market research, silent calls, calls from overseas call centres, fax calls. It acts as your personal receptionist, blocking the unwanted calls and letting your family and friends straight through. If you've been receiving malicious phone calls, Truecall will stop them getting through. It'll intercept incoming calls if it doesn't recognise the caller. Mary has been receiving unwelcome calls from a man called John. John dials Mary's number. Before Mary's phone rings, Truecall checks the caller's number. If it recognises a friend or a family member, Mary's phone rings as normal. But if it doesn't recognise them, it answers the call itself without Mary's phone ringing and asks them for their name.
Hello. We screen all our calls. Please say your name after the tone.
Legitimate callers will be happy to identify themselves, but knowing they're being monitored, a malicious caller will probably hang up at this stage. If John wants to continue with the call, he'll have to speak.
John.
Thank you. Please wait a moment.
Truecall now rings Mary's phone. When she picks up, it announces the caller.
You have a call from...
John.
Truecall gives Mary control.
Press 1 to accept the call, hash to zap the caller, or hang up to ask the caller to leave a message.
If Mary doesn't want to take John's call, or doesn't recognise his name or voice, she can choose not to accept the call. She may decide to get Truecall to take a message, and John won't know whether she's home or not. Or she can zap him, which means that Truecall takes over and asks him to go away.
I'm afraid that we're not interested in your call. Please hang up and don't call us again.
Mary is in control. She can choose who she talks to. No matter how many times John calls, he'll never get the satisfaction of speaking to her. If you receive malicious calls, you should keep a log of each call as evidence. Truecall does this for you automatically, keeping a record of every telephone call you receive, whether you answer it or not. The optional Truecall call recorder allows you to keep a full audio recording of all your calls as a permanent record of anything a malicious caller says. Truecall gives you control. You never have to speak to anyone you don't want to. It acts as your personal receptionist, blocking unwanted calls and letting your family and friends straight through. You've seen how Truecall stops unwanted calls, but will this make things difficult for your family and friends? No. Truecall keeps a star list of their phone numbers. When a call arrives, it checks the calling number. If it's on your star list, your phone will ring as normal. Truecall is very discreet, working away in the background so your regular callers won't even know it's there. It's easy to tell Truecall who your friends and family are. When you next call them from home, dial their number and add a star to the end. This will tell Truecall to put them onto your star list. If a friend calls you before you've had a chance to star them, Truecall will simply ask them to say their name.
You've got through to the Davises. Please say your name after the tone.
Hi Jenny, it's Carol.
Truecall puts Carol on hold. Your phone rings. When you pick up, Truecall tells you who's calling, so you can decide how the call should be handled.
Hello, you have a call from...
Hi Jenny, it's Carol.
Press 1 to accept the call, hash to zap the caller, or hang up to ask the caller to leave a message.
You can also press the star button on your phone to speak to Carol and put her on your star list. Next time Carol calls, she'll ring straight through.
Carol, how are you? What have you been doing?
Truecall is your
It's been
personal
ages.
receptionist,
Did you
letting
get
your
that
family
new
and
job?
friends through, but stopping unwanted phone calls.